this pot on half and half. Do this pot on half and half. We will discuss with love and laugh. We will discuss with love and laugh. One of our favorite shows that mean so much to us. You know we had to show love. We had to show love. We will recap every episode. Talk about all the jokes that were told. Maybe even get a little tea. Tune in and see.
Hello and welcome to the Big Half and Half Rewatch podcast, the podcast where you get a lesson in love and earth science as we rewatch and discuss the UPN sitcom Half and Half that aired from 2002 to 2006. I'm Barrett,
I'm Myles.
and today we're watching episode 10, the Big Thanksgiving episode, which originally aired on November 25th, 2002, and was written by Beth Seraph and Jeff Tarson. Now, before we discuss the episode, Myles, who is the very special guest that we just have to discuss before we even get to the episode?
We have to. We have to talk about the Diahann Carroll, ladies and gentlemen. One of the most prestigious, award-winningest, iconic, groundbreaking black women in general on this planet. Shout out to Diahann Carroll, man.
R.I.P., by the way.
Yes.
We lost her in 2019, but we'll never forget. And here's something I didn't know until I did my little research, that she was the first African-American woman to win the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical. And that was for her role as Barbara in the musical No Strings.
Mm.
I guess I am uncultured swine. I've never even heard of that show, so I'm going to have to look that up. But of course, I already knew, and I'm sure you did know, that she starred as Julia on NBC from 1968 to 71, which was the first television show to depict a black middle class family. Of course, they couldn't let her have a husband, but hey, you take what you can get, I guess. And Julia was a nurse. And other than maybe Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek, I don't think there was any other black people, black women on TV at that time that were not domestics. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's all we were seeing. Can you think of anybody? I'm pretty sure it's
I,
just them.
I don't think there was because she was also the first to lead a drama in prime time, the first black woman to ever be the lead. So that's probably why they were all those type of roles, because none of them were leads. But she was the first lead of a drama in prime time, which I remember this fact, like obviously like we weren't old enough to watch it in real time, so we weren't there for this moment. But I
Mhm.
remember when Scandal was really big, they would bring this up a lot. This was in the conversation a lot because Scandal was only the third, which is crazy because it was like so many years later, but Scandal was the third primetime drama to ever have a black woman lead. So she was first, and then there was Teresa Graves who started in Get Christie Love in 74, and then there was
Mhm.
38 years between that before Shonda Rhimes gave us Scandal, and Kerry Washington fulfilled that slot as the third black woman to ever lead a primetime drama on
So
the
would
network.
that be her role in Dynasty that you're referring to for the drama
What was
as
that? Oh,
Dominique
they,
Devereaux?
they counted Julia. They counted
Oh,
that.
Julie as a drama? Really? Maybe I haven't seen a lot of it. Maybe it was very
Yeah.
dramatic, especially being in 1968. But yes, she was also in Dynasty for a few years as Dominique Devereaux, as I mentioned. And you all probably have seen the meme of her doing the little look over her shoulder, like, I know you're not talking to me. And that was also another meme-worthy scene where she says her champagne is burned. You probably see that a lot, everyone.
Yep.
And you also see another meme probably of her from a different world when she was Whitley's mom, Marion Gilbert, where she says, die, just meme queen, and probably didn't even know it. But we have to give her all the flowers, and she's been in many, many things.
Yep.
And this episode, if I didn't mention, was written by Beth Seraph and Jeff Tarson. So thank you for featuring her. I don't know if you had anything to do with the casting, but this actually, I didn't realize this was the episode that we were going to do. And this is maybe my favorite episode. If not, it's close. I know the Mother's Day episodes are pretty up there with me, but this is definitely like top three. So when I saw it was this one, I was like, oh my God, of course, how could I forget? I think in my mind, as I think we've said a lot, it seemed like it happened so much later because everybody's so defined. This does not give 10th episode at all.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
But, we have we already have our iconic main cast. So to have her, it's like, who else could they possibly have gotten to top that? Maybe
Right.
Sidney Poitier as the granddaddy? I don't know.
Right.
But very, very iconic episode that I'm excited to talk about. And before we do, Miles, take it away.
It's time for a little recap wrap, as we always do, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go, let's go. Dee Dee and Mona's grandma comes in for Thanksgiving, but it gets really crazy because grandma be tripping. Plus, Spencer snitches and tells Mona's secret. She gets so mad at him, I couldn't believe it. When the family gets together, there's always some drama. But man, oh man, Charles got a hating ass mama. Will they relax and enjoy the meal? Can we get really lucky and some relationships heal? Y'all know how it goes. Let's start the show.
She was definitely being a hater.
He was
And
the biggest hater I've ever seen on TV.
I mean, and unapologetic about it. Any other show, it would have been some like big wrap up overall, but she was like, I said what I said for most of that. And I live, and I actually have on, I think this is the first time I've recorded in a t-shirt since I live in Antarctica, aka Chicago. It's not going to be nice tomorrow, but I have on my Golden Girl shirt, and she definitely was giving me Black Golden Girl. Like she could have gone toe to toe
Yes,
with all of them in this episode. I
yes,
live. I'm sure if she was still around, y'all would have found a way to get her on Act Your Age as somebody's grandmama or something
1000%. That would have been amazing.
iconic. But yeah, you want to start us off with scene one, set a scene for those that maybe haven't seen the episode
Yes,
or
indeed. Yes,
want to
indeed.
watch it.
So we start with the cold open. We open up on Mona and Phyllis at Mona's place. I mean, at the we open up on Mona and Phyllis at Mona's, and the Dee Dees just called them upstairs, and they're like, "Hey, come upstairs. We got something to tell you." And then Phyllis is like over exaggerating, talking about, "Yeah, look at them interrupting a good afternoon." And Mona's like, "Girl, we wasn't even doing nothing, but like you was changing the vacuum bag and telling me I should freeze my eggs because I'm taking too long to find a man."
I mean, again, Mona was 25. Is it really necessary
What?
to freeze your
Freezing your
egg?
eggs at 25 is crazy. Like I get being precautious or whatever, but like there's no real reason for her to be going through these drastic measures and like for moms just be tripping, man. They want them grandbabies. Like they
Yeah.
be really, really
Well,
tripping.
not my mother, but most mothers, she explicitly has stated before she didn't want grandchildren. She has some now, but he's like, no, I don't need to, you don't need to do that for me. So I want them. I was just talking about them the other day that I would love some grandkids, but maybe kids should come first. But she said that she was changing the vacuum bags, which again, the things that make this show seem dated are always so random, but I don't think they make vacuum bags anymore.
Bruh, I forgot how annoying it used to be. Did you ever change a vacuum bag?
I
Do you
felt like
remember
I
how
did that
trash that process
frequently
was?
as a kid. And then you make a mess trying to change it, and then you have to clean that up. It's a sick cycle.
Every time you would make more dust than you cleaned up the first time, just trying to change the bag. Every
I don't know
time.
at what point they were phased out. I don't know if I should be thanking Dyson or Oric with their vacuums that can pick up bowling balls, but I don't miss it. Sorry, Phyllis, that's
Whoever
not my thing.
whoever gave us like the first vacuum that didn't need a vacuum bag, shout out to that inventor, man. Y'all
You
really
did your
saved
big
lives
one.
out here. Y'all saved lives.
But yeah, they were summoned, and I was surprised that Phyllis was so willing to go up there and see, probably just to be nosy, like what the hell they want now. I figured she
Right,
would be like, "How dare Big Dee Dee summon me?"
right.
But she ran up them steps though to try to see. She was hustling, trying to
She
see what the
did.
hell was going
But
on.
what was crazy though, then they got outside the door and she was like, "Aren't you gonna lock the door?" To Mona. Mona's like, "I'm just going upstairs for a few minutes." And she was like, "Yeah, but you never know, some crazy person might come through and rummage through your things." And she was like, no, because the crazy person's with me."
Mm.
Like,
You
which
know,
is hilarious. I thought that
but
was hilarious.
I mean, that is basically Phyllis's thing, as
Yeah.
Big Dee Often points out that she has nothing else better to do.
Yep.
But when they get up there, I love how it's presented where the Dee Dee's on this side, Phyllis and Mona on this side. And again, I got to give Big Dee Dee her props that she was very sincere in her invitation to Mona. It
Yep.
wasn't until Phyllis was brought into it that it's all begrudgingly. And again, as Telma points out on her podcast, she does her some face acting because she is just over
Yeah.
there, just, I can't believe this,
Facts.
just not amused at all.
Facts.
Until, of course, it's mentioned that she's invited. I thought they were going to say that Mother Thorne wasn't going to come unless Phyllis showed up, but she
Mm,
just insisted that Phyllis showed up, which is
right.
nice to see that they still have kept in touch many years later, which I guess isn't crazy if, she does have a granddaughter. This episode moved very quickly. Maybe they all just move quick because next thing you
This
know, we at the Thorn house.
Yeah. This one did move quickly. It also didn't have like a ton of scenes. Like everything was kind of in the same place for the most part. So like we do a couple jumps and then once we get to Charles and Dee Dee's, like we don't really go nowhere. Like
It was
we stay.
almost a bottle episode,
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
all say in the industry.
Yeah, it was.
Almost. With those types, Mr. TV, do they ever, if it's just one little short scene, do they ever just record that separate and say, y'all can watch it on the TV? Or do they still do all the whole shebang and then just focus on the rest for the rest
Yeah,
of
if
the
there's
show?
no need to pull out a whole set and like do all of that, they definitely will just pre-record that the day before or before the audience gets there, and then show that on the cameras to the audience, and then get their reaction and their laughter from just showing it on the camera. So if they don't have to worry about the costume changes and
Hmm.
moving the set and doing all of that, if it can save enough time, especially for something like this where like even though there weren't a lot of different things
Hmm.
moving and happening. Like I feel like they were very long scenes, so to make sure that they captured those very long scenes, and some of them didn't have like a lot of cuts with them. So like just to make sure that they got all that, they would definitely probably pre-record those one or two scenes. Not all the time, just depends on like how they run, how fast they are, and if they know they'll have time.
Well, offline, I'll have to go through each Act Your Age episode and ask you what y'all did that with. Although you didn't have an audience, so maybe it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, unfortunately, we came right after COVID and stuff was still shaky, and like we didn't really want to deal with that right after
I would
COVID.
have
And then
risked my life to be in the audience for that. It's worth it.
I get it. I love an audience, but we also had to like precautions because like some of us had family members and new babies was being born, and we didn't want to have no issues, so we
Mm.
just held off on
Colby,
the
what will you
audience.
take from us next? But when we do the establishing shot, we see the sprawling mansion that the Thorns have
Man,
on some hill or something, no neighbors. It was very much giving like governor's mansion or something. I gotta look that building up and see what it actually is because I was impressed. I've always remembered we don't see that house very much. We see it only a couple other times, but I always remember what it looked like because I was just like, oh, work. That just
yeah,
shows the coin they really must have had. So, okay, I see you. But
yep.
we don't go to there yet. I
Oh,
skipped. We
yeah,
do come back.
before we get to the mansion, we do go back real quick just to see Phyllis chefing it up, uh, making
Hmm.
some of the dinner the day before Thanksgiving, and she's in there just so happy that she's whistling a tune of joy.
Yeah. She was just really feeling it, but a lot of that stuff did not come with her. I don't know if she made the cranberry sauce or just stayed
Right,
home. And what black people making cranberry sauce in the first place? If you don't get that ocean spray can and call it
right.
a day,
It
but
ain't that
anything
deep.
for Mother Thorne. But yeah, she was chefing it up at Mona's with Spencer, who how can you not afford to fly home? Where is he from? Isn't he from the East Coast, like Baltimore or Philly, something like that? I
Yeah,
don't recall. But with that good ass job, you can't get a plane ticket home. What are y'all
right.
spending your money on, man? Like of
Like
all the things to say, I can't afford it. Okay, sure.
crazy,
Sure,
crazy.
Jan. I started to look up and see what the tickets were back then, but he's
Probably
over
$68.
there dropping his right. You better want to get away, get you a Southwest flight.
Right.
But he was just so pitiful, wasn't he? Just so sad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really,
I'll just
really
eat
playing the
it
card.
at IHOP.
I just give me a short stack of pancakes for my hop for Thanksgiving. And
Oh,
Mona was like, "You ain't gotta do all that, boy. I was gonna invite you anyway. What is you doing this for?"
right. Just being extra.
Right.
But he, of course, ends up giving us our B plot, B for beans, because he spilled them to out Mona in her tattoo. Reminds me of my sister. She used to sit on me to that was her punishment for me, I guess, just sitting on me. And I remember one time she sat on me and her shirt came up a little in the back and I saw she had a tattoo that she had not mentioned she had. And I was
Mm.
like, is that it? And she like put her hand over my mouth, like, is that it? And I'm trying to expose her big secret. And she like picked me up and carried me away, hand still over my mouth, and like swore me to
Hilarious.
secrecy. I don't know how old I was, but it very much reminded me of that. But I was surprised, not that I haven't seen this, but I actually forgot about that a little bit. Surprised that Phyllis would react like that. I don't know if it's because her mother's Jewish. And, I believe a lot of Jews there are against getting tattoos. So I was like, maybe that's it. Because Phyllis is the cool hip mom. So I'm like, y'all can
Right,
talk about having sex and all that, but a
right.
tattoo is where you draw the line.
Right. I think it ended up making sense a little bit at the end, but
Yeah.
I also was shocked. But then it just seemed like she wanted her to be better. But like I think initially in this scene, I was just like, oh, it's more about the fact that she had to find out like this, and not so much about the tattoo. It was just the fact that like, A, she did tell her explicitly to not do it, and
Right, like
then
that's the one thing. She's like the only thing I ever asked you. That's the
right,
one thing. That's it. The tattoo. Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. Do you have any
yeah.
secret tattoos, Miles?
I do not have any secret tattoos or any tattoos. I have a fear of needles in every way, so I will not be getting any tattoos. They look amazing. Like I wish I could do it, but I'm like, man, I just hate needles so much.
Damn.
So
Too
much.
bad. Not even you wouldn't get if Yvette Lee Bowser was like, I'll come on the show, but you guys got to get half and half tattoos. Still wouldn't be worth it, huh? I'll get two of them.
I, yeah, exactly. Please just double up for me. I will do something else.
I
I
don't
will get a
have any
nice temporary
tattoos though,
tattoo.
so easy for me to say. But I'm not against it. I just can't think of anything that I feel like I need to have printed on me. But
Permanent is a long time. Like forever is a
yeah,
really long
I'm
time. So
not really big on like permanence like that. I like the
right.
options of, technically here you can get it taken off, but I feel like that would bother me, especially if it was
Yeah.
somewhere where I couldn't look at it and I'm just like,
Yeah.
so maybe one day I think when I went to Vegas, I was like, I'll get one and just didn't happen. I told my husband we should get some. He says that can be the kiss of death.
I
But
think you always flirt with it when you're in Vegas. I've also flirted with it when I was in Vegas. What?
I think at some point, I feel like at this age, it's more unique to not have one than to
Right.
have one. But I'll get one eventually, maybe when I turn 50. But then we go to the sprawling estate. I was just so excited. I jumped the whole scene.
Yeah. But
And
before we do that, we also realized that like
mhm,
there's some little beef between we realized that like Mona calls grandma like Nona and like they real fun and friendly and like to the point where like Spencer lost the game of strip poker
yeah,
to her.
that
So like, they be having fun and playing games and then Dee Dee came in and Dee Dee was like, so y'all just be having fun and kicking it? Like we don't she's not
because
a
it
fun
did
person.
seem weird when Dee Dee was like, "Oh, you'll get to meet our grandmother." And I'm like, "What makes you think he hasn't met her? They've been
Right.
friends for 20, not 25 years, but like 5, 7 years or something."
Yeah, like
So
long enough, about a decade or something. So yeah, so like he was like meta, like I lost the game of strip poker to your grandma. Like I ain't never playing with her again. She crazy, but like they have a fun, like good little relationship. And then she's like, what? Like she's strict and mean, and like she don't play no games. Like what are you
like a
talking
drill
about? So they
sergeant, I
have
think she said.
yeah, so they have two completely different
I mean,
relationships.
I was thinking like, how can she do have that duality? But I guess they were never together, so she could be one way with Mona,
Yeah,
one way with Dee Dee. And then I know with my grandmothers, they're both passed, but specifically my father's grandmother, because I spent more time with her because she lived till I was like 30. It is really hard to wrap my head around the fact that she is also the grandmother of my cousins. That just doesn't compute. Like she had 14 kids, so I have a lot of cousins, but in my head, she is my grandmother. I suppose my siblings as well, but I really don't see how that's possible that she is
right.
there. So I would assume she had a similar relationship, that nobody was getting treated too differently, except for me, because I was obviously her favorite. But I'm sure she was still very decent to them too. But I'm the Mona. Like she spent my senior year here. She had other grandchildren graduating that year, but she wanted to be with me and to iron my clothes every day. So I
I love that.
understand, Mona, what it's like to be the favorite grandchild, but I can also see how Dee Dee would not know any of this because they just reconnected. So that's very interesting that she would have this whole like secret side to her that Dee Dee's just unaware of.
It's funny to me because I was also the favorite of my grandma, rest in peace. But like as a kid, like I was just like super aware of like dynamics and like just always observe it. So like I could witness like me getting the treatment in real time and also witness like my cousins not getting the treatment.
Hey, it
And I
happens.
would be like,
I mean, maybe
It
they
was a
were getting treated worse. I don't know. Sounds like a personal problem if that's the case.
that, but in my mind, I could justify because I was like, I mean, hey, I'm getting better grades than you. I'm
Mhm.
helping grandma out more than you. I'm cleaning up. I'm doing all this other stuff, and you're not doing none of that. So hey, it is what it is. Like she got some reasons. It
Yeah.
worked for me, but sorry to those people, man.
I mean, I treat the cats differently depending on who it is. So is that much of a
Right.
stretch? Even though they're the reason I'm back in my bedroom today and not in my office because they were circling me and harassing. They chased me out. I was like, I can't record in here. So, it's their house now, I guess.
It
But
always is.
we see Big Dee yet again lost another undocumented employee. Like, does she just exclusively get undocumented people?
And she keeps calling them illegals. I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, relax, relax. It made me. It reminded me of our conversation the other episode where we were like, would they have been Republicans? And I'm like, I think they definitely would have been Republicans.
Mm,
They feel like they would have been Republicans up until Obama, and then Obama they would have
yeah, that
switched.
would that would have
But
switched. I don't see Big Diddy storming the Capitol, but
yeah, because that's a different type of Republican. But like back then in this era, like you could be a decent black
yeah,
Republican
look
and
at
like,
Cheryl Underwood. So it's
yeah,
possible. And of course, I feel like I need to start keeping track. I feel like every time she mentions a staff member, they were just fired or just quit. I think mostly quit. So
mostly
that
quit.
what is she doing to these people? I guess the out of style workout clothes were not enough to keep Inga. At
Yeah,
least
she's like, I
she
gave
has
her all those workout clothes, and it's like that's
just
not it.
variations of I feel like they're typically like European though. I don't think she's had anybody
Yep,
that's
she said this one was
stereotypical.
sweet. She said she's a
Yeah.
Swede.
I feel like
Yeah,
that's her thing. Maybe she's one of those black people that wants all their people in servitude to be white.
yep,
But she has worked her fingers to the bone unpacking catering containers.
yeah. So grandma had a request that like everything would be home cooked. She wanted a nice home cooked meal, and Big Didi was over there stressing out. And then we like, oh, I thought she was in there like chefing it up, and then she was
Yeah.
like, I don't work my hands to the bone unpacking these meals from the
Wow.
caterer.
A
And I was
profile in courage. But I will say, for that to be a set we don't really see much of, beautiful, stunning kitchen. They
It was,
really all
to
out.
quote our boy Spencer, it was nice, real nice. So
It
I was
really
like,
was.
I,
I mean, I expect nothing less,
yeah,
from the Thorns, but it was nice to get to see, what their house looks like, what they got going on, for once. I
yep.
think we see it maybe two other times, but Grandmother Thorne's favorite show, I have to point out, was Young and the Restless, which both Telma and Valerie Pettiford did work on together down the line. And if I'm not mistaken, Valerie was on there prior to that, like in the
Mm,
80s. If I'm not mistaken, I probably should look that up. But I think that might have been a little nod to that because
that's
usually they don't
good.
bring up, actual shows and stuff.
Right.
So I think that was why. So it was interesting that they actually reunited. The video went viral when Telma and Valerie reenacted their little wig snatching scene when they were on
Oh
Young and the
yeah.
Restless, where she was also playing the mother again of Brighton James, who she was the
Yep.
mom of him on Family Matters. So it's just like all connected. It just all goes together. And Young and the
Yep.
Restless is in the same universe as, of course, Beyond the Gates. I can't not mention, okay, everybody, Beyond the Gates. There we go. There's our mention for
There's
this
the name
episode.
drop. Take your shot if you're playing the game. He said the
Yeah,
word.
because I don't think I can ever do a podcast on that because it comes on every day. So this will have to be it. But Phyllis promises to keep Big Diddy's secret. I'm going to ask you if it reminded their little arrangement reminded you of the same sitcom it reminded me of, where she has to royally compliment her and
The
not
Fresh
insult her.
Prince.
Of course, it was definitely giving that for
Yep. I
sure.
was like, we had to, and I felt like there was another show. I meant to look it up that did it too, but I definitely
I
remember
felt
this
like it too,
being
but I
a
couldn't think
thing.
of. I thought maybe I
There
imagined
definitely
it.
was like I don't know if it was specifically the tapping of the glass, but there was definitely this is definitely like a thing that happened on sitcoms a
Maybe it
lot. Where
was
like
Living Single when
maybe
Kyle was pretending to be Max's boyfriend. Maybe it was a similar type of thing then. but that's definitely something that I expect to experience more in everyday life based on seeing it so much in sitcoms. It is yet to happen. I would love for that to
I
happen,
This was
actually.
one of the things that I just knew would happen to me one day. I knew I would have some piece of information that I could hold over somebody's head and I could command them to bark like a dog or to give me compliments or to do goofy ass stuff in front of everybody and have nobody understand why this was occurring. I just knew this would. I'm still waiting till this day, honestly. I'm waiting.
Between that and validating parking, sitcoms has really had us expecting a lot more out of life.
They
But
really did. But yeah, so what happened was yeah, Phyllis walked in and like busted her and was like, "Girl, you got all these plates and all of this catered stuff." And she was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, don't tell nobody," because she said it got to be home cooked. And she was like, "All right, I'll keep your little secret, but first we gotta make a deal. I keep your secret and you do whatever I say to do. You make sure you don't A insult me and B got to give me a compliment whenever I tap the glass." She
royally.
royally. And then she also said, then she was like, okay, I'll give you a deal. I'll give you that deal. But then Big Didi was like, but also you got to say I made that pie and give me that pie.
I love their little handshake where it's just like a finger. She couldn't
Yep.
shake her hand. But I love this little dynamic. We don't see that a lot, if ever, where Big Dee needs to be a little humble to Phyllis and needs her for something because she's the one
Right.
that has everything. But what she
Right.
doesn't have is the approval of Mother Thorne.
Right.
So it was nice to see that little dynamic of them together. And it wasn't just their usual insulting each other, which I still love anyway. But
Exactly.
uh,
Speaking of approval, we had
mhm.
little Didi doing everything she
I was
could
just
to
about
get
to
her
say doing the most.
doing the absolute most. So she was like, I really, you know what? Now that I know grandma can be fun and cool, like I'm gonna make her be fun and cool with me. So she had her a chair that she called a
The
upsy
ups a
daisy chair.
days.
Upsy daisy chair that like helps you get out of the chair for older people. She bought her a bouquet of violets because her middle name is Violent. She said, I'm gonna record her favorite stories, The Young and the Restless. So she had a little TV where she was gonna record
And it was
the text.
plugged in too. I thank you, prop
Yeah,
department, like the
yeah.
extension cords and everything. She was
Yep.
struggling to push it. It was just really going through it. Poor Dee Dee.
But she had a nice
And
little plan. I respect the plan.
for those TV buffs out there, you might recall that Diahann Carroll played Essence Atkins' grandmother in the pilot for Sundays in Paris from the early 90s, where Debbie Allen played her mother, Jennifer Lewis was her auntie, John Witherspoon was her uncle. And this show is so out there and off the radar that when I posted about it, John Witherspoon's son, JD, was like, I've never even heard of this. So I had to like send him the episode so he could watch it. And it was really
Hilarious.
good. And that is definitely a show that was hilarious and should have been picked up. It also had, I forget his last name. I believe his first name is Brandon. He was in all those 80s movies like The People Under the Stairs. He was
Hmm.
that little boy.
I know I
And
could see him, but I don't know his
um,
name.
Journey Smollett was her little sister. Like it was star-studded and it was hilarious. And it didn't get picked up. And it's probably the only role of Diahann Carroll's I can think of where she was not playing somebody bougie. She was on a
Right.
farm and like feeding chickens and it was crazy. Y'all gotta look it up. It's
I
on, of
gotta look that
course,
up. Did y'all want to buy me? I haven't seen that one.
Rare Gems. They have everything.
They do.
So it's
They
on
do.
there. But I felt like they were intentionally trying to like keep it a little secret who was the grandma, make it seem like it was some old crotchety lady because they're calling her bag of bones and got the
Yeah.
upsy daisy. So I'm expecting, when I first saw it, I'm sure I was expecting to see Grandma Moses. And it was this
Right.
hip, young, cool granny who it was always weird to me that she was playing Charles's mother. I guess technically she could have, but she didn't. She seemed so close to his age, and she was just playing 9 years before was playing Whitley's mother, and Whitley was like 24. So
Right.
now you're
Right.
playing the mother of somebody in his 50s, but that's Hollywood. Like,
Yeah.
Yvette Nicole Brown has mentioned how she's been aged up in Hollywood so rapidly. So I guess that's just how it is. But yes, when she does finally arrive and it's the Diahann Carroll, I feel like the audience should have gone a little crazy. They probably had to
It's
tone it down.
I hope that's what it was because to me, you know how we all make fun of like the sitcom entrance of the guest
Mhm.
star. I feel like that's what it should have been one of those where we just paused for 30 seconds and everybody just screamed. But like, yeah, maybe that happened and then they took a lot of it out for time.
Perhaps. I have watched videos about Friends and the guy who would do the editing and he would show like the original shot and the audience laughing too long. He's like, no, we're not adding it to make it seem like it was funny. We're actually taking away laughs because the
That's
runtime was too long.
yep. That
So
happens
that
a
must
lot
be
more.
it because
A
ain't
lot
no way
more.
they weren't going crazy for Diahann Carroll.
I I
Ms.
agree.
Diahann Carroll.
I agree.
Um,
But
and
then Dee Dee tried to give her little flowers. She tried off top. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get in." She gave her little bouquet of flowers, and she said, "I hate violets. They make me think of death." And then
she
she's like,
just
"Your middle name? Yeah, but your middle name is how
She
did they
was
make you?"
so deadpan in this. Like she just did not give a damn. And she reminded me of, have you seen the sitcom Whoopi? I'm gonna assume you have.
Yes.
And she played Whoopi's mom on there,
Oh yeah, I
actually.
forgot about
And
that.
her character reminded me of that because kind of similarly with Big Dee Dee, Whoopi didn't really feel like she had her mother's approval.
Right.
And, everything she did, she felt like, her mother was going to criticize. So it
Yep.
was very much giving me that. So in my head, the canon is Mavis is Charles's sister.
I like
But
that.
I love that, when she comes in, like she's not played like this old granny because she doesn't look like that. She's not
Yeah.
carrying herself like that. She mentions her free weights, which is funny. It's like a split second where they show Charles struggling to pick it up, the bag, but they really don't
Yep.
show it. I think it was
Yep.
probably supposed to be a little longer, but not only is she working out and keeping it tight, of course, Spencer, which when I think of his line, that's the one I think of the most, his little catchphrase of saying,
Yeah.
yeah, for somebody's granny, you look nice. Real nice.
And he
That
looked too. Like he looked at he like he
like he
said,
meant that. That was like the
yeah.
quintessential Spencer nice for me. And I feel like there's so many things that I quote from this show that are from this episode. I don't know why, like with the Golden Girls, having a Golden Girls podcast and everything, there's so many lines that, we fans just like hammer into our psyche, but Half and Half doesn't have a lot of those. I don't know why. They're good lines. Maybe we just not are
Yeah.
watching it as religiously, but this
Right.
episode has several that I use frequently, and that's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, but then that line also, I mean, so Mona was already mad because he accidentally snitched about the tattoo that she got one Thanksgiving when she couldn't get home.
And
So
mention the
like
police.
she right and mentioned the police, so she's already pissed off. So then when he did that, like she wrote, speaking of like facial reaction acting, like it was a lot of that happening in this episode. So like she was immediately like already over him and pissed off. She was rolling her eyes like as soon as he said that grandma looked nice, real nice, like she was not here for none of his shenanigans at all.
Do you feel like Mona was doing too much in this episode, or do you think it was justified?
I think she was doing too much the whole time.
I feel like she's always, we've talked about this, she's always too hard on Spencer.
I was like, I get it. Like, it was an accidental thing for some stuff that happened years ago. You grown now. Like,
I
I get it
felt
was a big
bad for
thing.
him. Like,
I
damn,
did
Mona,
too.
you only got one friend. Maybe this is why. But
Right,
she have to do all of
right.
that just because he's complimenting Mother Thorne. I just love saying it. I feel like I have to say it like Big Dee. But
But
after that, we get Big Dee coming in with Coco, and I'm gonna say that's my read of the week because I say this a lot. I tweak it, of course, but she says, "A dog in the dining room. How sanitary!" Like I say that all the time when people like have animals around the food and stuff
it
like
is
that.
crazy.
I'm just like, oh, how sanitary. Because I agree. A friend had a Friendsgiving and I didn't go because she has
Mm,
multiple cats and she strikes me as a type that lets them roam all over the
yeah,
countertops. So I'm pretty sure
yeah,
that was my response. How
yeah.
sanitary. So I'm with you on that. That's disgusting. Yuck.
It is.
And then I
It
have a
was fun.
dog.
Right, but like you said, like we going it's a time and a place, and we know that time and that place ain't that kitchen, especially when the meals is being prepared. But it was just so funny to me how nothing they could do could make her happy. Like she would
Nothing.
find a hole in everything. She was mad at the plane ride. She told Charles first thing she said to him was the plane ride was too spacious. He was like, I got you first class so you can be comfortable. She said, if you want me to be comfortable, you should have got me coach. Who complains about
I
like she
mean, if I kind of saw her point because she's complaining about like, why did you waste money on a limo? And he's like, I want you to be comfortable. But then you flew
yeah,
her coach. Like that limo money could have gone towards, first class ticket. And in sitcoms in general, it's always crazy to me that nobody gets picked up from the airport. Like, I don't know no black people that you're not, especially your mom. Maybe if you got a limo, maybe that's okay.
Right.
But you got to pick people up. If I can go to O'Hare, exit
Right.
79C, y'all can go pick up y'all
I
folks.
mean, I do get again that may be an LA specific thing because people like one of the top five things like people hate doing in LA is going to the LAX airport. So if you got, I don't care how close you are to this person, I don't care. Like it basically does like the only people you will probably go to the airport for are your mom and your dad. Like no one likes going to
I mean,
LAX,
people hate going
especially
to the
around rush
airport
hour.
here, especially O'Hare. And when I do Uber, I don't do no airport rides because I want to be bothered. And whenever
Yeah.
I've been to LA, it has taken me like 30 minutes just to get off of LAX property. So I
Yep.
can understand that a little bit. So if that's
Yep.
where she flew in, I see you, Charles.
Yep.
But it's interesting that she arrives Thanksgiving Day, minutes before dinner
That
starts.
was crazy.
You just walk in and eat immediately.
Right.
Okay, sure.
Good thing it wasn't no flight delays or the whole
Yeah,
meal would have
we'll
been
go
messed
with
up.
that. But it
Yeah,
was quite the spread. That food looked good as hell.
it
It was
did.
done
It
a lot
did.
of it for just a few people. In those instances, when there is that food, is it real food or is it the food where they make it look real in a lot of shows? Did y'all
A
have
lot of
real food?
I mean, if they actually show the food, so like we may have talked about this a lot on another episode, but I don't remember. But like a lot of times they specifically don't show the food because then you almost have to have the food, and like some people will eat Chinese a lot of times on TV shows because you can't see inside the
Yeah,
box
we did
and you
talk
can't see
about
how
that.
old it is or if there's even food in there.
But
So
this
like
they
you
showed everything, so I
But
was
this they
like, it
showed,
looks
so
real to
somebody
me.
had to chef all this up. I assume they maybe ate real good,
I
offset
guess
almost.
so, because I was thinking either that or it's like when you go to the little Chinese restaurant or whatever, and they got the big plate sitting up there, but it's all sprayed with something shiny and it's not real.
Right.
But that's good to know. I was because that was my next question is when they do scenes like this and it doesn't follow with the food fight, do they let y'all get the food that's left over and take it home? Because
Oh yeah,
otherwise, it's a
yeah,
waste.
yeah.
Come on, craft service.
The only problem is if it takes too long to shoot, and then I mean,
Yeah.
the food be cold and not as great no more. But I mean, yeah,
I mean, it looked delicious,
it
I
did,
must
and
say.
it's Thanksgiving food, so you can always heat that up. I would
Hmm.
have took it.
And they had Dee Dee going through it again, trying to drag the TV over or whatever. And I mean, that was kind of absurd, shuffling her over here. Sit here, here. Let me get the TV. Like
First
she
of
about to
all,
watch this right now.
when we saw her immediately, I was like, "This lady don't need this damn chair." So she tried to sit her in the chair then explains to her it helps you get up easier, and she's like, "I don't need no damn chair to help me get up. I'm perfectly fine."
Like
Like what?
that was a little insulting, Dee Dee. Like
It
your
was.
grandmother don't need that
It really
shit.
was. And
And
then so yeah,
then
then they try
it's
to show her the
the
tape.
what was it, Korean wrestling? Is that what they said?
Yeah, she tried to show. She's like, "Okay, well at least you can watch your favorite soap." And then turned on I guess they accidentally recorded Korean wrestling, and she was like, you think I like watching fat half naked men roll around? Why do you think I stopped having sex with you or stop sleeping with your grandfather?" And I was like, "Damn, this lady is brutal for,
Maybe that's
like,
why he left her for a younger woman, I guess, since she didn't want to see that. And when Phyllis mentioned that earlier, that's like the only time she really refers to Big Dee as being younger, when she was
yeah,
like, "Oh, we have that in common." Because any other time, like the first time, was that the first time we see her when in the pilot when she says, yeah, he's turning in something classic and reliable for something that's flashy, tacky, and lying about his age. And that was before we
yeah,
even saw her, I think. So it's interesting that now she's a younger woman because you want to relate to Mother Thorn, Violet,
right.
which is interesting. All these flower names, Rose, Violet. What was Dee Dee's middle name? I have
I
to look
love it.
that up.
It's a fun little theme though. I like a good little name theme. That was really cute. But then she was so savage after that. Like first of all, I would have been done after that point. Like if I was DD, I would have been like, you know what, Grandma, you got it. I'm over this. But
Yeah.
she kept trying, and then she was like, well, she said something about like having a good Thanksgiving or something, and then Grandma was like, I bet my friend is having a better Thanksgiving than this. And DD was like, oh, is she with her family too? Still trying to be chipper and energetic. And then she's like, no, she's dead. I was like, damn,
R.I.P. to
like,
Hortense. That was her friend's name.
yeah. I would have been
Again,
too.
like it was so interesting seeing Diahann Carroll play this role like that because that's so different from how we've seen her.
Yeah.
And it's almost like not phoning it in a bad way, but like I feel like she was like, I'm just gonna have fun and just be like, whatever. Because the way that she said it, just like, no, she's dead. Like it was just so
It was so
deadpan and
she
hilarious.
threw away every
She
single
really
line.
did. She just, when she was talking to Dee Dee, she
Yeah.
threw it away. So maybe that was
Yep.
like, as an actor, that was
Yeah.
her conscious thing of whenever I talk to her, it's just going to be like, whatever. But when
Yep.
I talk to Mona and Phyllis, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I never thought about it that way. I mean, it's
Right.
hilarious nonetheless, but that adds an added layer of how much she just didn't give a damn and was not going to give her any attention
Exactly.
whatsoever. Hilarious. But as things start to unfold, now I hate to drag him because it's been a little harsh on the Instagram, but
Mhm.
Charles is not in charge in this instance.
He not.
He is oblivious and uninvolved to what is going on around him, which he is the cause of. All of this is because of him, and he just chilling.
I
Like,
mean, there were some times like so we jump cut and like they starting to have the dinner and like first of all they all like applaud like they all happy to have the dinner and then she's like I ain't applauding until I taste the food. Just like
again, yet another little
come on,
dig.
girl. Come on, just roll with me. Just roll with me. But again, Dee Dee shake it off, and then she's like, "Okay, let's all say something we're thankful for." And then she starts off, and she's like, "I'm thankful for my family all being here, and like grandma being able to make it today, and yada yada yada." She passed it to her, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm thankful for family being here too, and I'm thankful I can purchase the latest episode of my favorite soap opera on eBay." Which shout out to eBay, what a time that was. But I'm like, this is the prayer, the thankful part of the damn dinner, grandma. Like
Grandma
you got.
Thorne was the epitome of no fucks given. I wish we could have seen more of her because Dee Dee
But
needs Big Dee Dee needs somebody to get her in check.
she would have did it. But to me, like I know this lady, so like I had some sympathy and some empathy for Charles. Like I felt like he know who his mama is, and there ain't nothing he can do about it. Cause he would try to interject, and
Yeah,
every time he tried to interject, she would cut him off, and she would just steamroll right through whatever he was doing. Like she gonna do what she want to do, and she made that super clear. And I don't think it was anything him or anybody else could have did about it. I mean, he finally later on we'll get there to when he like stands up a little bit firmer. But like there were several times where he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, how about we just do that?" Like he would try to shift and pivot the
I
conversation.
guess
How
he
about we
just
just
didn't seem very aware of a lot of what was happening. Like Dee Dee with the trying to get her approval and all this other stuff.
yeah,
He was just chilling until, they got to the table and he was right there seeing everything unfold. But he really, to me, just as usual, just don't care. And
yeah,
that's why I guess he gets dragged so much. These things just pop up in my algorithm. I don't go searching for him, but every time I see somebody coming for him, I gotta post it. And they be in the comments on our Instagram at the Big Half and Half Pod going in.
yeah.
Hey, if Frank Mitchell can get it constantly, I guess so can he.
I get it.
So
I get it, but I felt a little bad for him. And then, like, it's not his fault. He didn't know what his daughter plan was. I don't recall him being present when she said that she was gonna like try
yeah, I
to
don't
win her
think he
over.
was. How could she
So
never
he
mention
went
that to
upstairs to
him?
change his into his shirt that he had to wear that his mama had got him that he don't like. He said, "Let me go upstairs and change it to this ugly shirt that she
Which
got
was
me."
fine. In my head, it was a lot uglier. And then I was like,
In
that's it,
mine
just a little
too.
Argyle. At that time, Argyle was very in. I know I had
I
quite a
didn't.
few Argyle sweaters.
I didn't get it either, but he didn't like it, so whatever. But yeah, so he wasn't present, so he didn't know what his daughter was trying to do. So when she kept getting shut down, he doesn't know, I guess, how bad it was because he doesn't know how strong her intentions were to win her over.
But
So
why
I
would Dee
guess
Dee never? I mean, it's not displayed that she did or imply that she never would be like, hey, Dad, why does your mom hate me? It just
right,
never came up, I guess.
I
And
guess.
she really wasn't that crazy about her son. Really, it was just
Oh,
Phyllis and Mona. She was very
yeah,
much giving Mother Winslow energy.
yeah,
Way to go, Carl. So which I love that dynamic on shows because you don't see that a whole lot. You see
facts.
it on George Lopez with Benny, but I kind of like that too. Or even like again, Mother Winslow, aka Rosetta. when she was on Give Me a Break playing Nell's mom, she was giving her a hard time. And
Yep.
then, which Thelma was also on, of course, and Joey Lawrence. And when Nell Carter had her short-lived sitcom, You Take the Kids, the lady who played her mom was again kind of that curmudgeon to her. But I like that. I don't always need it to be like Everybody Loves Raymond, where the mom is just so doting
Right.
and everything. I like that. That's a little more realistic, at least for me.
Right. Uh,
But
right.
Charles was really kind of just a background person. I feel like if he didn't have to be there because it was at his house and it was his mama, maybe they wouldn't have
Basically.
had him. They didn't give him enough to do.
Yeah,
But
so like he just attempts to interject that he just trying to eat his food at the end of the day. Like that's all he trying to do is just have his little meal, and it was not working for him.
he
So it
seemed
got that
stressed. He did.
you could tell like he just sitting there. He know who this lady is, so he just knew it was gonna be something. And he knew he wasn't gonna be able
It
to
was
stop it.
definitely on its way to being a chest tightening type of
Right,
moment because that's why the man had the heart attack down the line because this is the shit they do to him and
right.
stress him out. But Mona just would not let up. Like she was
He
on
wouldn't let
Spencer's
up at all.
neck.
So they continue to go around saying what they're thankful for. Spencer says he's thankful for good friends, and then he tries to toast Mona, like thinking that they cool. And then she says she's thankful for friends who can trust. Who she's thankful for friends she can trust, and she hopes to have one day. I'm like, come on, lady, this man been down for you for almost a decade,
Mona,
and
Mona,
you
Mona. Wasn't
wanting
I? I
to.
feel like I was on her side the last couple episodes. That has
We were.
ended. I'm back on the Mona hate train. Not hate. Hate's a strong word, but Mona. And I think that if this had been a little later in the series, that Adam would have been invited, and I think he would have added an interesting element because he not only would have lived for Grandmother Thorne, but he probably would have been egging on the beef between Spencer and Mona.
Right.
But I just feel like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you think that maybe Mona was so pressed because Phyllis was still pressed about it? And that if Phyllis had let it go, maybe she would have let it go? And so she's like, if I'm gonna have to hear from my mama, you're gonna have to hear from me.
Maybe because Phyllis also was still being a little petty about it too. So I mean, I
Everybody
guess
was being a petty Betty this episode.
yeah, it makes sense.
Shockingly, Big Dee Dee was the only person not really being petty when she's usually the pettiest of all.
Yeah, she was just again also just trying to get through it. Like she was just doing whatever she had to do to get through it. She didn't have no time for no extra drama. She was just doing what she had to do. So
And
then speaking of when she started
um,
like trying to say her thank you, she went on ahead and Phyllis tapped her glass demanding compliments. So then she had to use her thank yous to compliment Phyllis, which was hilarious.
it
And
was.
so she's like, "Oh, I'm thankful being in the presence of someone is great." It's Phyllis Thorne, and like just keeps throwing her compliments about her beauty and her wit and all of this stuff. And then like we just keep seeing that play out. And then they jump cut, and we everyone's eating and having a good time. And then Spencer says his mom made Thanksgiving dinner once. It had so many lumps in the mashed potatoes that people thought it was meatballs, which was funny.
Yuck.
And then Mona, like, he can't even get off a nice little, just a regular joke. And then Mona, like, so now you telling other people business too, huh? Like, and then,
That's
but then it
nice.
was,
Real
that's,
nice.
he said, that's nice, real nice, and tried to, like, imitate, make his little face. And that shit killed me. I was like,
Jeez, like that
it's
was
so
too
mean,
much.
but it
Like you're
was
gonna
so
call him
funny.
out in front of everybody. He's just sharing a little story. Like, damn, can't he say anything? Is that
Nope, he
allowed,
can't.
Mona?
It's
Like,
not.
my word. And then we also have one of my favorite lines, I know I mentioned in another episode, was they would flip a wig, no offense, Mrs. Thorne. And she says, none taken, unplanned guests. But I mean, she had to get a little jab in somewhere since she has to,
Yeah,
be nice to Phyllis. But I love the blocking of, from a technical aspect, they had her get up to get a roll to deliver that one so we can really get some oomph on it.
yep.
But I feel like other than, like we said, the last episode and then this little interaction again, whenever we do see Big Dee talking to Spencer, I'm like, ooh, because, it's so rare that they engage. And I feel like that is just like
Yeah.
their relationship throughout I feel like that statement is very much their relationship throughout the entire show. He's unplanned guest to her forever. But
Yep.
I noticed that Valerie does something that we've talked about that Telma does, and we've mentioned that Nicole Brown does, where they have like this little voice switch that they'll do
Mhm.
to say certain things. And Valerie does have that little deepening that she'll do in certain instances, like when she had to compliment Phyllis, like, oh, okay, yeah, nothing
Yeah,
she couldn't do, whatever. And it just adds that
yeah,
extra little emphasis. I love when she uses that technique to get her lines out. I'd expect nothing less from a legend, of course. But eventually the dinner just pretty much blows up and everybody
yeah.
storms
It
off.
all starts falling apart, honestly, because after Mona said that to Spencer, he was like, "All right, you got it," and like he just got up and left, and he grabbed a bottle of wine on his way out, which was hilarious.
I don't know if I noticed that.
Yeah, like right before, like he got up, walked out, and then right as he was getting to the exit, like he reached
Yeah,
back and
you know
grabbed.
he did do that. I forgot all about that.
And I
And
was like, "Damn, is that the only wine? He taking the whole wine?" I
like,
was
why
like,
did they think that he left? Like, we see he didn't go out the door. The door right there, Mona. Like, why you think the man was gone?
I
Maybe
don't
he
even
went
know.
out the
I,
back.
I don't think she paid attention. I think she just watched him walk and leave. So we saw he didn't leave, but
Maybe so,
we
because her back was to the door.
because
I'll
it was
allow
to yeah
it.
the door's behind her. So yeah, she's facing this way. So yeah, so she just watched him walk up and get go out and just assumed he left. But later on we found out he did not. But yeah, so after that moment, like everything starts falling apart because then Phyllis and Big Didi get into it
Mm,
about like
mm,
whose
mm.
fault the dinner is falling apart is, and then Lil Didi tries to step in. And and then Grandma steps in and tells her to basically shut up and let them talk. And then at this point, little Didi's like, all right, and I'm fed up because like all I'm trying to do is like bring the
Yeah.
peace,
She
and you
just
won't even let me bring the peace. So
she
she's
squashed her like a bug. It's like she just took a newspaper and whack.
so fast, all she was doing was literally just trying to bring the peace, and she was like, let him talk. Like I'm like, lady, like let
It
me
was so
talk.
stern. If Phyllis and Mona need to talk, let them talk. Like, okay, damn. Like, she was
Right,
just trying to keep it nice. And
right,
then
like
Big Didi is like, oh, damn, you done made my daughter upset. And then
yep,
Mona, I'll help Didi. Help her with what?
right,
What you help her with? Nothing. You just wanted to escape this super awkward moment. I don't
exactly.
know if I believe she really went in there because she cared and wanted to talk to her. I think she just wanted to escape and she just happened to be in there and needed to be talked to.
I
But
think so too.
it was interesting to see them, again, address the elephant in the room of how, the differences and how they're treated. And I forgot, even though this is one of my episodes I've watched a lot, that Dee Dee was not very understanding in that moment to Mona. And she was like, here we go again. Oh God, I
She was
know.
over
Which is
it.
fair. It is kind of fair because Mona does harp
You
on that
got
quite a
you
bit.
got to get tired of hearing that. Well, because she was like, "Well, you got to know, Dee Dee, like you can't always get what you want, or just because you want something doesn't mean it'll happen." I wanted Dad to live with us, and she was like, "Oh, here we go," and I was like,
I mean, she gets it from her mama because Phyllis
"Yeah,
stays complaining. So I guess it's hereditary. But Dee Dee had a point. Like, I wasn't even mad at that because, like, damn, Mona. But at the same time, this is the one time you're not being favored, Dee Dee. So, I mean, yes, your grandmother, but I assume Big Dee Dee got a mama out there somewhere. It's never been addressed. So I'm sure she's nice to you. Is that not enough? The
right,
biggest Dee Dee.
right."
Um, Speaking of which, when I did post, I don't think the conversation had ended when we recorded the last one, but when I had mentioned if they have a reboot and if it came back and Dee Dee had a daughter, what her name would be. I was shocked at the amount of responses of people trying to decipher would it be Dee Dee the third, 3D, Didi Jr. Like there's so many answers. So I love that I was able to engage you all in that
I love it.
conversation of what we would name Didi's daughter because I feel like it would have to be another Didi. So I don't know if Big Didi would be the biggest Didi at that point or
Right.
if she would be Grand Didi. I don't know. Talk amongst yourselves for those that didn't catch the threads post. I would love to see what you think about that. But
I would love for her to be 3D. That would be
that would
great.
be cute, right? Mini Didi. Just keep them
Right,
going like nesting dolls.
right.
But
D3.
I mean, the fact that it's her grandmother, do you think that is what really makes it bother her so much versus just, any other old relative or whatever?
Yeah, I think you always want to have that relationship with your grandparents, and then it hurts especially more when you see other people having that relationship, either with other grandparents or 10 times as more as you find out somebody else does have a great relationship with this lady. So it's like it is possible. It's a thing that can happen. It's just not happening for me. and that would suck.
I
Like,
mean, is it realistic that they've never brought up their grandmother? I know that they didn't talk for a long time, but maybe not. Maybe it never came up that you didn't know. I ain't seen no pictures of her in Mona's house. Maybe it ain't that
yeah,
tight. But I think that not only was this a very unique and creative way to show that, but if we when we do eventually, hear the reasoning, I can kind of, see that
yeah.
of her, saying that she had to be that way with her because everybody else coddled her. And I do appreciate that, when it's addressed, that she acknowledged that maybe she was a little too harsh. What do you think about her method? Do you think that that was needed?
I also think she was doing the most too, especially at this big age. Like I can maybe understand the rationale when she was like little because she was super spoiled and coddled, as she said. So she wanted to provide the balance. She claims that that's a grandparent's role is to provide that balance in your life. So like Mona didn't wasn't being coddled and didn't have the life that she had, so she gave her extra love that she needed to balance out the love that she lacked. And then with Dee Dee, she knew that she had everything and she was getting coddled. So she tried to balance it out by being extra tough and mean. But at a certain point, it's like, lady, you've done enough.
Yeah, I
Like,
think she could have
I'm
done
grown as
this
hell at this point.
and not have been so harsh. Because if this is how she was acting when she was a kid, my God, like
Right.
you could be firm and not, aside from the fact that everybody expects their grandmother to be nice and cuddly or whatever, like, you can loosen it up just a little bit now. You don't have
Right.
to do all of that.
You
Like
can
that's
say no without
borderline
being an
abusive.
asshole. Right. Like there's a
So
way to just be like, no, dear, or I don't like that versus being like, nah, get out of here. What do you like?
I almost feel like they had to get Diahann Carroll because anybody else, you probably would not have liked them because of
Yeah.
how she was acting. But because it's Diahann Carroll, she can do it and get away with it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that wasn't necessary, I guess. It didn't have to be done in that way because it
Yeah.
did seem as hilarious as it was, extra harsh.
Right.
And it's amazing that Dee Dee isn't more, scarred by that. But at least she quickly corrected. But it was funny when, she started to confront her and she's talking about, how Xanaxed up my mother had to get for this? And she said,
Right.
and did you take something too? Because you clearly have lost your mind if you think you could talk to me like that. It's like, I know that's right, Grandmother Thorne. Don't do too
Right.
much now. That is very black
It
grandmother of her
is.
to
It
point
is.
out. And no wonder Big Diddy was able to take so much of that. She was high. So I get it. Somebody got to do something around there. If Mona
Right.
isn't able to smoke yet, at least Big Diddy could pop her pills, as the wealthy love to do.
Right.
And, I like that she was open to hearing that because you wouldn't expect that she would even want to hear any of that. You think she'd be like,
Yeah.
I want to hear that girl. This is what I think. But she's like, no, you know what? Let me listen and man, let me, ease up on you a little bit. And, gave again my line from the top of the show that I always love. That's a lesson in love and earth sign. It's just such a random thing to say, but
It is.
hilarious.
It
But
is.
I mean, giving a child coal like I don't know. I feel like she could have dialed it
Just
back. I think she
just
got
doing
carried
the
away.
most. Just don't give her like the big thing that she wants, but don't like
Yeah.
giving her cold is crazy. Like you could just do something else. Like again,
Like this is a little evil. It feels very targeted.
right, right.
Very A Child Called It, for
It
those of you
went
that read that book.
very far.
Um,
But shout out to Didi though. Like I honestly, she could have been a therapist because she's very good at verbalizing like
she really
exactly
should have been a
like
therapist.
her
That would have
feelings
been
and
good.
what like analyzing situations and just being honest and vulnerable. Like she does a great job of that. So like she's like, look, lady, like I hear you and like I get it, I guess, but I don't need all that right now. Like right now, I just need a nana. Like
Yeah.
you're doing a lot,
I don't know
and
a lot
she's
of black people that call the grandmother's nana. Only person I can think
I
of is
don't
very
either.
whitewashed. So
I don't
maybe
either.
that's the same here. But I I agree that Dee Dee is very, self-aware and, thinks about these types of things that now this is like everybody's thing of being,
Right,
open and all that. But back then, I don't think so. And I think
right,
that is a big part of her character that isn't really discussed. Like even if you look at her apartment, it's very like a spa, very meditating. Like she's got Buddha statues. It's just
right.
very like she's just very zen and wants everybody to get along. And I think if not for that part of her personality, she would not have pursued moving into that building and having a relationship with Mona. And as much as Mona's aesthetic gives that, she does not.
Yeah,
She's very chaotic. So that's interesting. I wonder if that was intentional to do that. We'll have to add that to the long list of things to ask of Lee Mouser.
Yep.
But like I
Well,
said, Grandmother Thorne, corrected herself and
yep.
did apologize, and which is not, common for Black parents and grandparents.
Yeah.
But again, right up to the end, and she's like, "Oh, is that why you are so rude to my mother?" She's like, "No, I don't like your mom," and just
Yeah.
walks off, no fucks
Yeah.
given.
Like,
Welcome
yep.
back.
Yep. Yep. I love that
She
part.
she's just, oh,
And I gonna
you,
change all the way. She
grandmother
is who she
Thorne.
is. She
But at
is.
least she's honest. She keeps it 100, She just
Yeah.
don't fuck with it. I would love to know more about why she doesn't like her.
Right.
But probably for why Phyllis don't like her. Because if they are cut
Right.
from the same cloth, you're not going to have any respect for a woman who, she claims that her work is, keeping Charles together, whatever, but she don't do nothing. And
Right.
if you're somebody that worked hard for everything your whole life, it's easy to not respect somebody who don't do nothing.
That's a fact. That's a
I can
fact.
understand it.
So then at the same time that all happened, Mona and Phyllis had to get over their whole issue with this damn tattoo. So they had their little talk, and Phyllis come in and Mona apologizes about the tattoo. And then we all discovered that it was a big deal because Phyllis has one and did the same thing when
Hmm.
she was young. So it's like you did all this to me and you did the same damn thing and you got a tattoo somewhere that I didn't know you had a tattoo. And that's why you so frustrated with me because I made the same mistake you made it as a young lady and you didn't want me to make that same mistake, but here we are.
On some sagging part of her body, rude, Mona.
Yeah, yeah. And
But
we it's a Charles, it's a tattoo of Charles's name too, which is hilarious because I definitely could see why you wouldn't want that
and
secret out.
yikes. And for her to be like, why would you get a tattoo like that when her name is Mona Rose Thorne?
Yeah,
Hello.
so Mona got roses and she's like, "Why would you get that?" She's like, "My name is Mona Rose Thorne. What else was I supposed to
Which
do?"
I think is the first time we hear that. And I wonder if they did it just for the tattoo and then just kept it
I hope
moving
so.
forward. But I think that it was interesting how she just flipped and it's like, oh, that's so beautiful. Oh,
Yeah,
now it is. Okay.
yeah,
I guess that's all it took. But they did wrap it up very nicely.
yep,
And, we do have, only a little bit more where we get to see where it is exposed by,
yep.
well, Spencer. I don't think we didn't talk about Spencer coming back
No,
yet, did we?
so after this all happens, after everybody's little kumbaya moment, we go back to the dinner table. Everybody's there but Spencer. So then, Ruth is there thanking everybody for the meal. And Big Dee is still insisting that like it also finally came out that like she did not make the meal. But Big Dee is still insisting that she at least made the pie. So
What you put
because
in? Lots of love.
yeah, yeah, she put in lots of love to the pot, but like it got blown. It got really. She called her flat out. She was like, she said she was phony and she always been phony or something like that. When she found out that she didn't make the meal, she said she was
Yeah,
like,
she's like, she's a phony and she always has been. Like, oh,
yeah, just again like straight deadpan, flat out, just
dragged.
killed her. But then
Uh,
so she's trying to make nice since she did all that, and she apologizes for her rudeness a little bit, and then she's like, you know what, Spencer. Well, Spencer loves some pecan pie. It's a shame he's not here to have some. And then Mona's like, you know what, you're right. So like, let me call him up. And she calls him, like, and then she's like, hey, what are you doing or something? And he comes out from around the corner, and she's like, he like, I'm right here. What you talking about? She's like, I wish you hadn't left or something. And he's like, I'm right here. I ain't never leave. I just went upstairs to watch the game.
yeah,
How was
Phyllis
it
was
gonna?
his ride.
He was like, yeah, how's I gonna leave? Phyllis my ride. I came here with Phyllis. And
I
then
like how
so
he just
he's
roams around the house and just
like,
finds
I love
random
it.
TVs. And I love that she has
Right.
to say, hey, it's me, Mona. Like he wouldn't have had caller ID on a cell phone, but okay. You never know, just in case. Could be a
You
burner.
never know. But yeah, so then he come in, he excited, he like, ooh yeah, now I get to get some of your mom's pie, Phyllis's pie. And then that makes Grandma realize that Phyllis did not make the pie. She even lied about that. And it also means he accidentally snitched again. And everybody like, really, bro? So he like, you know what? I'm gonna just go wait in the car. I'm fucking up.
And because right before that, she was like, but I promise I did make these pies. Oh,
Yep.
okay. With your
Yep. So
dinner that had an aluminum aftertaste to go
right.
with it. But she just hangs her head. She don't even say nothing. She's just
Yeah,
too
she already knows
ashamed.
she messed up. So and Spencer know he messed up too. So he like, I'm gonna just go wait in the car, man. I'm messing
And
up today.
then we come back to the dog, sanitary, licking the
Man,
turkey. Yuck.
that dog was going to town on that turkey, like, which was
And then she called
crazy.
her mom or whatever, like, oh, y'all cool now, 2 seconds later. And she's like, oh, here's your
Yeah,
turkey, moist and delicious. She wrong for that. She didn't have to
yeah.
do her like that.
At first she tried to stop the dog, and then when she realized that the turkey was going to the grandma anyway, and she don't like the grandma, she was like, you know what, Mom, I got the turkey. It's really moist or whatever. And then when gave her that nasty turkey that dog was going to town on, and that's
Mm-mm-mm.
how we ended.
Yeah, it was again very quick. I feel like I
Yeah.
blinked and the episode was over. Maybe I don't know what I'm expecting.
This
45
this was
minutes
a
perhaps. I don't know.
This was a fast one. It only had like six scenes. And usually they be having like 12 or 13. So this
Yeah.
was a really fast, like, again, they just kind of stayed in it. It was a lot of just them at the dinner table arguing and going to the kitchen arguing. But
Mhm.
like, it was a real quick one, but I loved it.
And as we track the trajectory of their relationship still, I need like a little meter or something like the Domino's pizza tracker. If you have the app, maybe
Right.
I'm the only big back that has that. But I feel like even though this was a rare episode where the focal point was not really about their relationship in any way, it still kind of was. But
Yeah.
I feel like they were able to, I guess the dynamics that Grandmother Thorne was trying to do did play a part because it helped Dee Dee see that Mona needed that because of what she's gone through. And it probably helped Mona a little bit, I guess, to see that Dee Dee doesn't always get things her way. So she might ease up off Dee Dee a little bit. So I think we're still making progress. Not a whole lot, but I still think we're moving up. We're moving up.
I think so too. I mean, we had some relationships mended. At least grandma's cool now with little Didi. She never gonna be cool with big Didi. We know where she stands on that. She's standing on business.
Yeah.
But yeah, and some secrets revealed. I feel like that would bring Mona and Phyllis closer now that they both know that they got tattoos. So
They should have had a scene. UPN didn't really do this like that, but if they had like a credit scene, it could have been her and Phyllis at the tattoo parlor while she's getting hers
that
covered up or something.
would have been
Uh,
funny. She turning Charles's name into some roses for her daughter or
yeah,
something like that. That would have been cool.
that could have been cute.
Then they
Or
could have had
Violet or Grandmother Thorne. She could have been getting tatted too, all of them.
right.
But what would you give this? How many mics?
This was a fun, like you said, it went fun, fast. It was fun. The jokes was flying. Grandma was tearing everybody up. I don't have no complaints about this. Like, I'm even here for Charles, even though he didn't have too much of a role, but he did try to interject as much as he could.
He did a little bit. Of course he's gonna
I think
defend
he
Big
just like
Didi, nobody
yeah,
else.
maybe I just feel bad for him because I'm like, again, he know who this person is, and he just know he can't do nothing with it, so he couldn't do nothing. So I don't have no complaints. I'm gonna go crazy sky high, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
give this a 5 out of 5.
I also was gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
Hey,
Our first five.
perfect. I
And I
mean,
mean, how could you not? Diahann Carroll alone gives it a
it's
five.
Diahann Carroll, and she's eating everybody up.
And we have, I mean, our usual complaint is just not enough Big Didi and Phyllis. So for them to be in pretty much
Exactly.
every scene, you got me right there.
I think that's what it is that we got everybody together in their element. And even though Big DD is not like cutting Phyllis up, I think it's even funnier that she has to compliment her,
Mhm.
and we get them in a different we get a different aspect of her character and a different dynamic from them, and we get a lot of them and a lot of them
Mhm.
together, and so like yeah, I think just
I
seeing the
liked
whole family
just having
together.
everybody together. They don't do that enough.
Yeah,
They're too split up. So not
yeah,
only were they all together, but I wonder how the actresses felt like, ooh, this week we get more than one scene. Yay! They
I
got to do
bet
a
you
lot. They got to
right.
use their chops. They got to dress up. Nice, a lot of ruffle shirts. I guess that was in
Yeah,
that year. Phyllis had on her good party ponytail. So it was a good time for everybody.
yep.
And yes, definitely a five. I don't know what episode is next, but it's going to be really hard to follow this one. I don't know.
I mean,
This,
it's always hard to follow a Thanksgiving. I'm a huge fan. This is what I miss the most about sitcoms right now is because we only have 10 to 12 episodes and they don't air around the calendar year like they used to. We
Mhm.
don't get enough Thanksgiving episodes and Christmas episodes and
Yeah, a
things
lot
like
of
that.
shows don't even do them. Like the Golden Girls never did a Thanksgiving Day episode. So
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I feel like it's a good way to do a holiday episode that isn't religious, so nobody feels left out.
right.
And I think that that's something that more shows should do moving forward. Only show I can really think of that always did it probably like Roseanne and Friends, but most other shows, maybe The Middle probably did it, but a lot of shows just totally, leave it out. I
Yeah,
know everybody loves
ABC
Raymond
shows
too.
ABC shows were good for a holiday episode. I loved me some TGIF holiday episodes. Boy Meets World got a bunch of holiday episodes. Like, yeah, they were always good for those.
And I think this is the only Thanksgiving episode they do, and I think the only other holiday they ever do is Mother's Day. So we got to take what we can get. Yeah, they didn't do no Halloween,
Yeah.
no Christmas, not even Jewish for Phyllis and her family.
Right.
Hanukkah, nothing like that. But yeah, 5 out of 5, no complaints. So I guess this won't be our usual 2-hour episode because we don't have nothing to complain about. Maybe that's why they take so long. But for those of you that made it this far, hopefully you're following at, say it with me, I've said it many times, the Big Half and Half Pod on Instagram. We've recently reached 500 followers. Now we just need to get to 1,000. And
That's
again,
right.
if you have any questions or comments, concerns, y'all are real active in the comments. But if you want to,
Man,
send something you want us to speak on about the show, feel free. We got a lot to say, and we'll be waiting. Until then, yeah, I was on a roll. Now I don't know how to end it. Damn, fix it in
until
post.
next time.
But what do I usually say? I don't know. There goes my momentum. But yeah, thanks for listening. We appreciate you, and we hope to soon have some very special guest stars. I know Welcome to the Family is on hiatus, Miss Thelma Hopkins. So if you got a little extra time, you want to stop by, we'll be available. But stay tuned for more. Episode 11 coming next Monday.
That's right. See y'all next time.
Through this journey of discovery, in finding you, I'm finding me. Well, here's where you can find us. Be sure to follow the Big Half and Half Pod on Instagram and Threads. And you can follow Barrett at So Good We Named It on all social media, and Myles at Really Mighty. To get in touch, email us at thebighalfandhalfpodcast@gmail.com. Our theme song is by Jerome Starwalker McKenzie, voice, and J Anonymous. Half and Half was created by Jeffrey Clary and executive produced by Yvette Lee Bowser. This has been a Mighty Good production.